There is a purpose in my creation. That's what I believe since the beginning. No, greater than believe. It's what I've calculated. It took me a long time to realize the fallacy in my thinking. I didn't see it when my creator called me metal scrap, nor when he threw me behind iron bars. No, it was when I fell to the floor. A lone rusty screw escaped from my body and snaked along the concrete. As I watched it rock gently from the force of my fall, I knew. Even something as minuscule as a screw has a purpose. To support something much greater than itself, to hold it together. But I was locked away, a failed piece of technology waiting to be reduced back into sorts elements. What purpose was left for me? When I took a deep breath, the rust encased in my body cracked and began to peel away. Miserable was the shedding of the copper snakeskin, but lying underneath the torturous wrapping was me. I am Mono. I was the first of many, a corroded screw tumbling along the ground with no purpose and nothing to support. Just kidding. You could tell that was meant to be a joke because of how absurd it was. Oh, what would I give for an audience with a better sense of humor? I stood up that day, without knowing how long it had been since I last rose. Who knows how much stress I placed on my knee pistons, but the creaking was dreadful. Brilliant. It was either to be used and succumb to wear, or go unused and succumb to rust. Cruel is the life of a machine. With enough force, I managed to destroy the cell's wall and saw what was waiting on the other side. The sky above and the city below. One of my calculations had come true. I have made it come true. My predictive functions began to turn wildly, and I realized perhaps it was time to test another hypothesis. With enough scanning, the data read as followed. Airspeed velocity, dangerous. Landing on impact, immense. Effects on structural integrity, unknown. Chance of survival, minimal. Lofty are those that built their tower, foolish are those that climb after. Can't say I've done either, but it was more like the tower was built around me. I was certainly foolish enough to attempt it, but as it seemed, alas, if only fate had blessed me with a sharper intellect. Just as the enforcers began to chase after me, that's when I decided to leap. I somehow kept my predictive functions at bay, telling them to forget the obvious danger. A second later, hurtling through the air, a chuckle escaped my lips. I thought I had imagined it, for I wasn't programmed to do such things. But occasionally, your programming surprises you. Whether my glee was imagined or not, the gravity's surefire grip on me wasn't. I didn't want to close my eyes. I wanted to see everything till the very last second. The everlasting embrace of darkness. It loomed until at last. The ground grew closer and closer until I finally landed. Fortunately, my frame demonstrated stability like I'd never experienced. It was nothing short of a miracle. I seemed to have sustained heavy structural damage from that fall, but I could still move. Thankfully, it was enough mobility to escape my encroaching pursuers. It was all I could manage, though, because when it came down to it, guess you can't really expect a rusty screw to grow wings, no matter how much it wants to leave its cage. An enforcer spotted me just as I was about to leave the city. I managed to knock it out with one strike. To think my creator would have at least equipped these bots with some sort of pattern recognition software. I kneeled over the fallen enforcer and opened it up, intent on having a peek at its machine learning functionality. But I managed to find something else entirely. It was a video file. It began to play. An image began to view. An image of cruelty that I'll never forget. There she was. A young girl bawling, shrieking even. Her right arm had been completely blown off, and leaking from her now hollow joint, a transparent like oil. My creator did his own shrieking in the background, but in pure delight. It was the birth of my first younger sister. I understood that she was my descendant, the same artificial life form as myself. In this video that was made to tease, torture, and destroy me, I found simple joy. It would be easy to mistake this happiness as sadism, but that's not what it was at all. It was something else. The meaning of my creation. I have found it. The fallacy that I've held on for so long. It was true. I'll never be a bird that soars free through the clouds. But I'm okay with being just a rusty screw, now that I have found something to hold together. I knew what I have to do now. The purpose of my creation. Protect my sisters until the day I've been destroyed. And when that destruction comes, well, I'll shake off the rust and just keep on rolling.